All right, let's see how we can do this. See if we do something fun.
And we'll see what happens.
Rockford's home for Classic Rock 96.7 The Eagle. Good morning, it's Double T, and it's time for Bar Comedy USA News with comedian Jer Dog. Live from the news desk, it is Jer Dog. What's up, buddy?
Hey, good morning, Double T. How are you?
Good. How about yourself?
That was a fabulous double introduction, I gotta say.
I really try, man. I've been working on it.
You know, it was you said my name twice, and that's really an honor when you've reached the point in your career where you get the double mention in the introduction.
Did I mention that it will cost you double, though, now?
Okay, well, 0 times 2 is still 0.
So what's happening in your world?
So today's top headline, Double T, get this. This just came out on Monday. Las Vegas is named the top city for comedy in an annual Year in Live Events report.
I mean, it makes sense. I don't see it being any other way. I mean, where else could have more comedy than Vegas?
Absolutely. And I find it interesting that this happens just mere months after I relocate here.
You're the one that put him over the top, right?
I think so. It was like, the one thing we don't have that we need is a corn-fed comedian from Iowa.
Because everyone's looking for that.
But it got me thinking, Double T. It got me thinking that it does make absolute sense because, of course, Vegas. There's tons of comedy. Any night of the week, you've got an opportunity to see some great comedy.
Right, and everything from guys starting out all the way to big mega stars and small clubs and big arenas and everything in between. It's an amazing place for comedy.
But it's like that in Chicago as well,
Yeah,
and a little more affordable.
Yeah, is Chicago comparable to Las Vegas when it comes to comedy availability and shows and stuff?
I think on any given night of the week, if you're really on the hunt for it, you pick up a copy of the Reader, or you just Google, and you can find a place to some maybe anywhere from underground to, like you said, a star rolling through town. That's very common where so-and-so would play at the Allstate Arena, but then they'd also roll in for a late night set at Zany's.
Right, which is always fun if you're able to catch one of those.
But it also got me thinking, Double T, that a lot of what are some other good cities where, it might be good for comedy? Like I never thought of it like a good city for comedy. Chicago kind of is because it's very geographically well located, where there's a whole abundance of travel availability and places to go to, out even Rockford, Madison, Milwaukee, into Michigan, Indiana. And Las Vegas has stuff that is year round and all night or every night of the week, but outside of here, you're in the desert, my friend. Good luck telling jokes to rattlesnakes.
Right. You know what? And I've known band guys for years that, you can go out west and, boy, it can make or break you because the cities and towns and everything are so far in between. It's such a long drive. If you have any issues or something, that could just destroy the whole tour, and you could lose all your money.
It's a little bit isolated. And if you think about it further, the comedians aren't all really from here or even from where they might be based out of, So a lot of good comedians they're from all over.
Yeah.
Like even back in old school, Johnny Carson was like somewhere from originally in the middle of nowhere in Iowa, like Corning, Iowa. Dave Chappelle right now lives in some small town in Ohio.
See, to me, that's amazing that he can live anywhere he wants, and he lives in Ohio in a small town. That, to me, is really cool.
It is really cool, and it also makes me wonder if that might be where, even based on my experience, to one of the best places to be based out of as a comedian is in the middle of nowhere because it is going to be nonstop material.
I mean, you got a bunch when you were living in Iowa.
That's right, and that's why I have it to compare to. I spent 10 years in Chicago. And that's fantastic. But then when you go play somewhere in the middle of nowhere, they don't necessarily relate to what your experience was like being accosted by a street peddler on the L train.
Want to buy a gold chain?
Right. They have no clue the reference point. They're like, okay, what is that?
So do you think it's an advantage to have grown up somewhere smaller, out of the way, or actually still even live there?
I do. I think it could be an advantage to have, both spectrums of experience in what you can talk about in your show, so that way you can maintain relatability with your audience no matter where you are. Whether you're in a city club or whether you're in the nooks and crannies of America, which is where we do a lot of shows, like, Rock Falls coming up this weekend. They're going to have a different type of experience than, say, downtown Chicago. But also, a lot of the clubs that bring in comedy night after night, they're also appealing to tourists that come from all over.
Yeah, that is very true. What about, living near the industry? And like a lot of people move out to Hollywood because that's where the industry is. Is it really an advantage anymore with, all the internet and all that?
I think in terms of discoverability, you can be in the middle of a cornfield in Iowa and be discovered and have a worldwide global audience because of the internet. Ultimately, you still got to find a stage to perform on. And I did a rant about that on, how TikTok stars will do comedy shows, but really after about 5 minutes, they don't have the stage chops to hold up an entire performance.
You know what? That's true because they don't have the attention span for it. Well, people don't have the attention span for it.
That's right. And when I was coming up, it was about getting in front of a crowd, no matter what I needed to do. And so I started out as a street busker myself. I was just too dumb to not do it in Chicago. I did that in Des Moines, Iowa. Yeah. I was other people's fodder for material at that point.
Now, what's the ratio of importance between getting in front of an audience? So say you get in front of an audience with 150 people in a club to do comedy, and then having, 150 views on TikTok. I mean, obviously those aren't equal, but what's the ratio from one to the other? Do you have any idea?
I really wouldn't know. I've never really found it that appealing to do comedy in any other platform other than the live pressures on situation of face to face. It doesn't mean you won't. Like right now, it's over the radio, but we're being funny, but it's not like a pressure situation. You're going to edit some of this.
Well, and the other thing I think we learned from COVID as comedians performed through the internet, through video and stuff, is a live comedian, a live comedy show really needs the audience. It's awkward without that interaction.
100%. You know how many comedians got great laughs when it was canned laughter on a sitcom and then came out and did a live show in front of people and it was like, hit the bricks.
And that, I think, shows what kind of comedian you are. Because on the internet, if you're doing, videos on TikTok or Instagram or anything like that, you're making a short clip, and you can add sound effects and visual effects and music and all that to make it a big production. But, when you're doing a live comedy show at a club, it's you, the microphone, and an audience, and that's it.
And that's it. And, that is really why it's so much fun to bring comedy to places outside of big cities like Las Vegas or Chicago, which are great. They're 100% fantastic. You're going to get great comedy, absolutely. But I really do want to see the list of what is the best city located somewhere out in the middle of nowhere that brings in comedy. Places like Boxcars in Clinton, Wisconsin would be a rank high on that list. What are the places that are the diamonds in the rough that you wouldn't even think of? But if you roll in there on the first Wednesday of the month, you're going to see some amazing comedy.
If you can walk out of Garden Prairie with your life after doing a comedy show, then you might have a future in comedy.
That's right. So in that case, I would give the props to the comedian for being able to survive. But I don't know that comedy is a sustainable business model in Garden Prairie.
No, but if you can go in there and a place that isn't usually for comedy, I mean, think about that. You're designated comedy clubs, people know how to act and react and everything most of the time. But when you go to these other places and it's something new and something they're not used to, it could get a little rough in there for the comic.
And you have to legitimately win over the audience. That's right. And then once you won them over, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, this is an awesome thing," and then they keep coming back week after week. And those are the nooks and crannies places that I would like to see a list made and headlines about.
Well, you know what? That is going to be a future homework assignment for you. I want you to come up with your list of your favorite 5 small towns that are the best places for comedy. How's that sound?
Well, it sounds great. I just wish you hadn't said homework.
Well, now he's not going to do it because the dog ate it.
Yeah, that was a trigger word for me, Double T.
It's Bar Comedy USA News with comedian Dog. Dog, what do you got coming up, or how can people get a hold of you?
Hey, go to barcomedyusa.com and you can see and hear some of the past episodes of Bar Comedy USA News. It's all archived there. And then also, if you want to get on the road a little bit this weekend, go to Rock Falls. We're bringing the Pub and Grub comedy tour to the Cooler, and it's this Friday night, the 9th. December 9th. It's going to have Bob J. and Trey Eilers. And you get tickets at barcomictix.com.
What was it again?
You can get tickets at barcomictix.com.
It was Bar Comedy USA News with Dog on Rockford's Home for Classic Rock, 96.7 The Eagle. Sweet, man, sweet.